Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we are going to answer the question, what is the greatest faction in WWE in the 2020s? One thing about Triple H's booking is that he loves factions. He's loved factions ever since he took over, which means that in the 2020s, we've had an abnormal amount of factions being introduced on the main roster and NXT. So you'll be surprised that there are way more to pick from than you are probably imagining. And we're going to do this via tournament format, putting all of these factions in a one-on-one tournament to ultimately decide who I think is the greatest WWE faction of the 2020s. Of course, you can jump into the comments section and let me know where you think I went wrong and who you would have picked. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm incredibly confident that you are going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if the daily wrestling content just simply isn't enough, consider coming over to the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap, where you are going to get so many more videos that we never upload here, like the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, PLE reviews, and more. So go check it out. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. You already know. Let's start the tournament. Okay, so there are a total of 49 factions in this tournament. So because it's an odd number, there are going to be some factions that get a first round bye. Let's jump into it. We're starting off with Los Americanos versus Bloodline 2.0. Los Americanos are still fairly new. They haven't really accomplished a heck of a whole lot as of yet as a faction. El Grande Americano sure has gotten tremendously popular in AAA, in Mexican Lucha Libre culture, but Rayo and Bravo have yet to really get going in either the American or the Mexican market. As a faction, they're still in their infancy. They haven't really done or accomplished anything. Bloodline 2.0, for all of their faults, they were still the top heel faction throughout the majority of 2024, feuding with some of the biggest names in the industry, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, of course. They became tag team champions. They had the debut of Jacob Fatu. So for all of their problems, they were honestly a pretty strong faction. So yeah, sure, I'll give it to Bloodline 2.0, even if they are themselves in a 2.0 version of 2.0 with MFT. But anyways, sure, I'll give it to Bloodline 2.0. Next, we have American Made, or OTM. I actually really like OTM, by the way. I think that they're great when they were together. I thought that all three of them really carried each other pretty well. And ever since Jada Parker got removed from that group, ever since their entrance themes got changed, it's just not the same. American Made is still just a faction that has all the potential in the world, but has never really been given any sort of ounce of an opportunity to even achieve on those capabilities that they clearly have, whether it's going after tag team gold with the Creed brothers, which they absolutely should be in the picture. Ivy Nile should be in the picture for mid-card championships. And of course, we all know the story of Chad Gable at this point, the guy who's they always pull the rug from under. So I will go American Made, albeit they're not going to go very far in this tournament because of just their poor booking throughout the years. Next, we have Original Judgment Day or Alpha Academy. So they differentiate. This is Alpha Academy after Chad Gable. After Chad Gable, yeah, I'm not interested. Now, OG Judgment Day wasn't great either. I want to remind people of that. It really was not very good. I will give it to OG Judgment Day because it's kind of cool to think about the fact that Edge, was kind of like the guy that created this. It's his brainchild, and it's still going on to this day. And it propelled the careers of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley to heights that they had never reached. So, yeah, we'll go OG Judgment Day. Next, we have Lucha House Party, or the Hurt the business. Of course, Hurt Syndicate now over in AEW. We hurt people, of course. I love the Hurt Business in WWE. We talk about untapped potential with American Made. Times that by 50 with the Hurt Business. Even though they did win tag titles, even though they were WWE champions, they just did not get given enough of a runway to truly potentially be one of the dominant factions of the 2020s. They should have been going on for much longer. Lucha House Party was fun for their matches, but obviously I'm not picking them. I'm going to go with the Hurt Business. The Wyatt Six, or No Quarter Catch Crew. I like No Quarter Catch Crew. These are some NXT names that if you're just a viewer of the main roster, they might go over some of your heads. Wyatt Six, I still love the group. They still, I think, maybe arguably the coolest debut I've ever seen of any faction ever on WWE TV. That debut where they like murdered everybody in the back was just so good, so incredible. We were like theorizing like what they did, what it all meant, why they killed Chad Gable, and all of the teases leading up to it. It was just so good. They haven't followed up on it very well, but I still think they're a decent faction nonetheless, and they still generate a really solid reaction whenever they come out and confront any individual or team. So I'll go Y at 6. Damage Control or the Vision. Listen, this isn't even close. It's not even close. I want to make this abundantly clear. The Vision sucks. They have not been able to do what they set out to do. And of course, they've had to take a massive pivot with Seth Rollins getting injured. Damage Control was like the women's faction for a long time. Like to me, it's still the greatest women's faction in women's professional wrestling. The formation of Damage Control was the end of the Vince McMahon era. Think about that for a second. Think about like SummerSlam 2022, the big moments. That was like the start of the Triple H era. The first big, this is different was Dakota Kai and Io Sky coming out with a returning Bayley. I'm going to give this to Damage Control. You might fight on me if I'm me on this one, but I'm gonna go Damage Control. LWO or the Pride, dude. I forgot about the Pride. I cannot believe the LWO was gonna win a match. The Pride was just so pointless. It didn't amount to anything. They were never treated seriously. Granted, LWO hasn't either, but at least they're still around, and they've lasted significantly longer than the Pride did. So, yeah, I'll go the LWO.
We're refusing to. Here we go. Oh, God, he barely made. Dude, there's a fire in the ring, dude.
Curly and AAA. Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
That was a sneak peek of this week's Horror Week Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're going to be looking at the hellacious Hell in a Cell match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. The 3 stages of Hell match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. The infamous WCW Chamber of Horrors match from 1991. The barbed wire Christmas tree match from TNA. And the Undertaker and Kane in their famous 1999 Inferno match. You're going to be getting all of this, plus the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, the currently ongoing John Cena World Championship Series, and all of the videos and series that we've already uploaded there over on patreon.com/SantiZap. So go check it out. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. We obviously can't post this stuff here on YouTube because it would just get blocked due to copyright. So go check it out over there. I'm confident that if you try it even for just 1 month, that you are going to fall in love with the content and the community. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support. Now let's get you back to the video. Judgment Day after Damian Priest and Ripley. Okay, so we're getting timelines here. Or OG Alpha Academy. Interesting. I didn't know that Maxine was considered OG Alpha Academy, but sure. All right. I can get along with this. I will go current day Judgment Day still. I did like OG Alpha Academy, but I'll go post Priest and Rhea Ripley Judgment Day. You know, you got Dom as IC champ. There was a moment where they all held gold. You can consider maybe even Liv Morgan to be part of this as well. So yeah, I'll go with Judgment Day. The D'Angelo family, another NXT faction, or Legado del Fantasma. Dude, it's the D'Angelo family. It is. The original Legado did not get to do really anything on the main roster, sadly. The D'Angelo family was always a tremendous amount of fun on NXT. I'm going to go with the D'Angelo family. Diamond Mine or Bloodline, the OG. Okay, this obviously isn't close. I remember Diamond Mine. This is where they brought in the Creed brothers, Ivy Nile, being led by Roderick Strong, one of my favorite like in-ring performers of this generation in Roddy Strong. But obviously it's OG Bloodline. They genuinely defined an entire generation of professional wrestling, and WWE just hasn't been anywhere near as good since this saga ended with the OG Bloodline. So I could definitely see OG Bloodline going very deep into this tournament, if not winning. So we're gonna go Bloodline. The Viking Raiders or Hit Row. Dude, Hit Row could have been huge. I genuinely, dude, they had Swerve Strickland in there. I really think that Hit Row could have been something had they all been kept intact upon their initial call up and it didn't go the way that it ultimately did. Viking Raiders aren't great either, but at least they survived, at least they stuck around. So I guess I'll go the Viking Raiders, but Hit Row to me will always be one of those like what ifs in professional wrestling. I'll go Viking Raiders. Toxic, wow, that's crazy. Okay, that's insane that they put Toxic Attraction alongside Fatal Influence. Toxic Attraction rocks, Fatal Influence rocks. I love both of these factions. They're basically tied to me. I'm going to go Toxic Attraction because without Toxic Attraction, there is no Fatal Influence. So I'll take Toxic Attraction, but I don't think anyone is like that much better than the other. I'll go Toxic Attraction. The Green Regime, is that their official name? I didn't even know that. Or Metaphor. I like Metaphor. Metaphor was silly in NXT, but I'll go with the Green Regime, sure. The Maximum Male Models or High Rise. Listen, I don't care that people hated the fact that they shackled LA Knight with the Max Dupree gimmick. And let me make this abundantly clear. I loved the Maximum Male Models. I love gimmick stupid wrestling, and this to me was the epitome of it. Mace or Masse and Mansois were so good in this role, and whether he likes it or not, so was Max Dupree. All right, I'm gonna go with MMM Maximum Male Models. Imperium or Chemical X. I mean, Chemical X lasted like 4 episodes of NXT, if that. I know that Chemical X has their fans, and I know what kind of man you are. But we're gonna go with Imperium. Imperium was also a faction that had a lot of potential that just did not get untapped. They could have been so much more as a faction, but WWE decided to focus more on Gunther as an individual. But I'm still gonna go with Imperium. The New Day. Okay, so it's before they kicked out Big E or Gallus. Okay, it's not even close. We're definitely gonna go with the New Day here. We have The Way or Dark State. Okay. I like The Way. They had some fun storylines on NXT, but I dig what they're doing with Dark State right now. 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions already, dethroning the Hardy Boys in one of those. So yeah, give me Dark State. All right, so now we're done with the first round buys. All of the remaining teams are in these rounds moving forward. Let's get to it. So we have a OG Judgment Day or Nia Jax with Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae. I mean, like, you don't even have a name, all right? You don't even have a name for your faction. It's obviously not going to be you. We're going to go with the Judgment Day. Next, we oh my God, the 2 factions of the Thunderdome era, Retribution or the Messiah and his followers. Guys, if I ever pick Retribution in any of these, I want you to reach out to me and just check if I'm okay, because I might not be. There might be, some internal struggles that I'm dealing with if I'm out here picking Retribution. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins, the Messiah, and his followers, albeit this was also not a particularly inspiring faction. Next, we have Toxic Attraction or Jinder Mahal's group. Okay, wait, they had a name, right? Indus Share, I believe, was their name. Yes, Indus Share. The meme, of course, was that it took forever for Veer Mahan to come. Right? He kept trying to come, and he just wouldn't. He wouldn't arrive until he finally came. But yeah, we're gonna go with Toxic Attraction. Absolutely, women's NXT champion, women's tag team champions. They really ran NXT for a long time. Toxic Attraction. Undisputed Era or the Culling. I like what they're trying with the Culling. I really do. But come on, this isn't even close. 2020s isn't even the height of Undisputed Era. It was still awesome, but it's not even their prime. Yeah, we're gonna go Undisputed Era. Judgment Day after Priest and Ripley or Imperium. Oh, man, Imperium. When I really think about them as a faction, they didn't really accomplish a heck of a whole lot in WWE. They were a really cool idea that never really materialized to much, unfortunately. It really was all Gunther. It was all about Gunther. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Judgment Day here. The Brawling Brutes or American Made. I like the Brawling Brutes. As silly as it was to change Pete Dunne's name to Butch, they always went out there and had really fun matches, and they were put in marquee spots as well. Let's not forget, Brawling Brutes were the babyface side of the first ever main roster War Games match against OG Bloodline. So yeah, we'll go with Brawling Brutes. American Made, we already talked about them. Just so much drop potential with the talent that they have in there. It's arguably, like, from in-ring, the most talented faction of the 2020s, like in terms of like technical wrestling, but they just never got properly utilized. We're gonna go with the Brawling Brawling Brutes. We have the Maximum Male Models or Judgment Day. Okay, so this is after Edge. Okay, this to me is prime Judgment Day right here, where it's Damian, Rhea, Dom, and Finn. This is prime Judgment Day. I love the Maximum Male Models. I already talked about that, but we're definitely going to go with prime Judgment Day. The Green Regime or the Wyatt Six. Yeah, we'll go Wyatt Six on this one. Chase U or the Hurt Business. I think the best thing about Chase U was always the crappy backstage performances, you know, with all of the classroom vignettes that they would have. I like the meme of like, this is where WWE would have put Okada had he signed with WWE. But yeah, no, we've already talked at length about the Hurt Business. We're gonna go with the Hurt Business. One of the best factions of the 2020s that still just had so much more potential. The Schism or the Viking Raiders. Schism was weird for sure. I kind of dug what they were trying to do. I liked Joe Gacy in the role. They even had Ava Raine, who of course is The Rock's daughter, who is now the NXT manager. This is where she made her debut. Schism was weird. I don't think it was a faction that really was able to get any sort of momentum under it. Honestly, the Viking Raiders are just kind of cruising here. Like, the Viking Raiders should not be this far into the tournament, but they just keep getting easy matchups. So I'll go Viking Raiders. We have the LWO or Pure Fusion Collective. Oh my God, I forgot about PFC, the Pure Fusion Collective. Yeah, we're going to go LWO. The MFTs or Damage Control, not even close. The answer is Damage Control. I think I could see Damage Control going really far in this tournament. We're going Damage Control. Legado del Fantasma. Okay, so this is after Carlito exposed Escobar. All right, so this is when he decided to recruit Los Garza. Right. Okay. And Elektra Lopez. I almost said Carmen Electra. That is not Carmen Electra. It doesn't matter because they're going up against the New Day before they kicked out Big E. So absolutely, they're going through. The D'Angelo family or Dark State. D'Angelo family. Dark State's still too new for me to pick over the D'Angelo family. We have the whole story of the D'Angelo family it from beginning to end, and it was solid. So we're going to go with the D'Angelo family. DIY with Candice LeRae or the Final Testament. Oh, brother. Yeah, no, Final Testament is one of the mistakes for sure. This just did not pan out at all. One of the mistakes of the 2020s is what I was trying to say. DIY. The reunion of this was nice. Bloodline 2.0 or OG Bloodline. Come on, this if you're picking Bloodline 2.0, get yourself checked out. What is going on in that brain of yours? Absolutely, without a singular shadow of a doubt, it's OG Bloodline. All right, so we're now in the next round here. We are at LWO versus Toxic Attraction. So we've seen all of the factions up to this point. Are they missing anybody? Did they miss a faction? I feel like they might have missed a faction, and I'm just not thinking of it right now. Maybe New Day with Grayson Waller. I don't think they included on here. All right, anyways, LWO, Toxic Attraction. I'm going to go with Toxic Attraction here. Honestly, Toxic Attraction was one of the rare highlights of NXT 2.0, of Rainbow NXT, because it was cool. It was different. It was awesome seeing a dominant women's faction in NXT after seeing a dominant men's faction in Undisputed Era for so long. Yeah, LWO has never really been able to amount to anything. Like, let's be honest here. They tried to get this thing over off the back of Rey Mysterio's name, and it just has not worked at all whatsoever. We'll go Toxic Attraction. We have the Judgment Day post Edge or the Wyatt Six. We've already talked at length about the Wyatt Six, but I mean, the Judgment Day for a long time, they ran Monday Night Raw, if you remember. If you want to get deeper in terms of what it's been able to do for the wrestlers within the faction, Wyatt Six, we've yet really to be able to see what it can do for these guys individually, if it ever will do anything for them individually, because I think that these guys individually only work when they come together as a group. But we've seen with the OG Judgment Day the significant rise of Dominic Mysterio, a AAA champion, Intercontinental champion, clearly on a track to be a future world champion in WWE. Rhea Ripley, off the back of her work in Judgment Day, became the most popular women's superstar in WWE, multi-time world champion, absolutely. And then we have Damian Priest, who also in his own right became a main eventer, won world championships, and has kind of stayed in that main event ecosystem. Funnily enough, the only one that's really struggled is Finn Balor off of the back of this group. But yeah, dude, like it's OG. I consider this OG Judgment Day, which is so funny because it's not OG Judgment Day, but it is peak Judgment Day if you ask me. Judgment Day. The New Day before they kicked out Big E or DIY. Yeah, definitely the New Day. This 2020s isn't even their height. You know, we know it's the if we're talking 2010s. They might just win the whole damn thing. It might be like between them and the Shield, and they probably, honestly, like New Day might win a 2010s faction. We'll go the New Day though. Okay, we've got the Battle of the Judgment Days. Okay, we have OG Judgment Day or current day Judgment Day. I'll go OG Judgment Day. Yeah, just off the fact that they kind of started it all, catapulted Damian and Rhea. They were both kind of just struggling. I don't want to say struggling, but they were just sort of meandering and not really being able to garner any sort of like major pop or attention for themselves. And then Edge came along, recruited them, and obviously we know the rest is history. It's funny seeing like the OG versus the current iteration. I'll go OG for sure. Next, we have the Viking Raiders or the Messiah followers. Again, dude, the Viking Raiders are just getting the easiest tournament. They're still going to lose here. I'm going to go with the Messiah followers. There's just no way I can confidently go to sleep at night knowing that the Viking Raiders made it this far. I'll go with the Messiah and his followers. The D'Angelo family or Damage Control. Easily Damage Control. I love the D'Angelo family. You guys have already heard me gush about them, but absolutely Damage Control. Well, you can talk about various iterations of Damage Control too, right? Whether it's the Io Dakota Bailey version, and then you added the Kabuki Warriors into it at one point. This was the reveal of Kairi Sane. If you remember, her return to the WWE was with the recruitment of her into Damage Control. They had a great storyline off the back of Bayley's Royal Rumble win and a great WrestleMania match. Yeah, we're gonna go Damage Control. The Hurt Business or Undisputed Era. Oh my god, dude. Both may be like in contention for the coolest faction of the 2020s for sure. The answer here is Undisputed Era, but again, I want to give props to the Hurt Business because this was the faction that could have. This was the faction that could have been. It's a shame, man, that they were broken up the way that they were and as quickly as they were. Undisputed Era, like I said, 2020s isn't even their height. Like 2019 Undisputed Era is in contention for like the greatest faction of all time, if you ask me. But still, even in the 2020s, you're damn right I'm taking Undisputed Era. Brawling Brutes or OG Bloodline, funny enough, this was the War Games match in 2022. We're definitely going OG Bloodline, however, not even close. All right, so we have OG Judgment Day and OG Bloodline. Both kind of factions that were just so parallel to each other, right? One was on Monday Night Raw, one was on SmackDown doing its thing. They never really got to cross paths, unfortunately. We're definitely going to go with OG Bloodline. Damage Control or the Messiah and his followers, absolutely Damage Control. It's like not even close. Messiah and his followers should not even be this far. The New Day or Undisputed Era. Man, okay, this is actually kind of tough. Because we're talking 2020s. 2020s are neither of these groups prime. I think we can all agree with that, right? But at the very least, over in WWE, like in main roster, Big E was able to win a WWE championship, but he kind of did it not as a part of the New Day, right? He basically was a single star up until that point. And Undisputed Era was a group through and through, whether they had the NXT champion or not. They were a faction together. So I'm gonna go with Undisputed Era. Toxic Attraction or Judgment Day post Edge. I love Toxic Attraction. I think they deserve to make it this far. I think that they're in the right place. They're in good company, but definitely post Edge, peak Judgment Day for sure. All right, so we're in the round of 4. So let's get it. We have OG Judgment Day. Again, oh my God, I keep saying OG Judgment Day because it feels like OG Judgment Day. Post-Edge Judgment Day, peak Judgment Day, or Undisputed Era. Dude, honestly, if you weren't watching NXT, you're going to be raising your eyebrow at this, but like I'm telling you, Undisputed Era was like the coolest thing happening in wrestling for a long time. I swear to you, it really was. I'm going to go with Undisputed Era. And then the other semifinal, honestly, these are probably like these could have been in the final, like in terms of like best faction of the 2020s. The problem with Damage Control was that they just like never won feuds, right? Like Bianca Belair's there. Bianca Belair's going to win the feud. You know, they run into any star that's bigger than them. That star is going to win the feud. And that sucked for Damage Control. It really ultimately hurt their stock throughout the years. But I still think, without a doubt, greatest women's faction of all time. And I don't know that there will be a faction that even comes close to it anytime soon. But the Bloodline, OG Bloodline, is in contention for arguably, I think they might just be the greatest faction of all time. And the run they went on, Roman Reigns' 1,000+ day run at the top of the company as champion. You had the insane run of the Usos as tag team champion, breaking records. You had a night, WrestleMania 39, where the Bloodline main evented both nights of WrestleMania. WrestleMania 40, same thing, both nights of WrestleMania. It gave the rise of Solo Sikoa to where he's at today, where he's kind of becoming like a fan favorite, like cult favorite, because of how good he is with his interactions, his promos, his facial expressions, all of that he learned from the Bloodline. And of course, the trump card was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn just made this group so fun and so lovable. And of course, you got Paul Heyman there. Yeah, we're gonna go with the OG Bloodline. And then this is the final two, and I think that this is an acceptable final two. You already knew the answer at the beginning of this video was always going to be OG Bloodline. OG Bloodline wins, and they are the most important faction, bar none, of the 2020s. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching today's video. I love doing these little tournament ones, so yeah, if you find any more of these, let me know. I'd be happy to do them if it's a good topic. But that's it. I'm done. Goodbye. Get out of here.